The story begins with a girl named Rin moving into a new town. Rin is an orphan who has been adopted, and because of her adoptive parents' work, she has to transfer to a new school. On her first day, nothing particularly exciting happens. Rin is a quiet and reserved girl who prefers spending time alone rather than socializing with her classmates. During lunch, she usually sits by herself. Many students see her as strange, especially after they discover her blog, which is filled with mysterious and unusual posts that make little sense to them. As a result, Rin lives a lonely life at school. However, everything changes when she meets Min, a boy from her school who lives in an orphanage. The two quickly become friends and begin spending a lot of time together. Their friendship gradually grows stronger. One day, while exploring the forest, they discover an abandoned house hidden among the trees. Away from everyone else, they share their feelings for each other and end up sharing a sweet first kiss. The following day, Rin joins Min and his friends. They plan to visit a tunnel construction site where an explosion is scheduled to take place. Rin's stepfather happens to work there. Although some of the boys are hesitant because she is the only girl in the group, Rin insists on coming along. After hiking through the forest, they reach a spot near the tunnel and wait for the planned explosion. But after a long time, nothing happens. While exploring the area, they come across a small cave. Curious, they decide to go inside. Deep within the cave, they discover a glowing egg resting in the water. Fascinated by it, Min dives in and retrieves the egg. However, once they bring it to the surface, its bright glow begins to fade. One of the boys, Tay, suddenly becomes nervous. He tells them a story his grandfather once shared. According to the legend, the cave only appears during a full moon and contains a mysterious monster egg capable of devouring time itself. Anyone who enters the cave loses time. Children may suddenly grow older, while adults rapidly age. As the group discusses the strange legend, Rin realizes she left behind a hairpin that belonged to her late mother. She returns to the cave to retrieve it. Moments later, a powerful explosion shakes the entire area. Startled, Rin rushes back outside as quickly as she can. When she finally reaches the surface, she is shocked to discover that all of her friends have vanished. The only thing left behind is the mysterious egg, now cracked open. Soon afterward, the parents of the missing children arrive at the construction site, searching for answers. They confront the people in charge, including Rin's stepfather, demanding to know what happened to their children. As he listens to the list of missing kids, Rin's stepfather is horrified to learn that one of them is his own daughter. The next day, police officers and a search team began looking for the missing children. Unfortunately, the only person they found was Rin, who was unconscious. After recovering, Rin told the detective and her stepfather everything that had happened, including the mysterious cave and the glowing egg. However, her story sounded impossible, and neither of them believed her. To prove she was telling the truth, Rin was asked to lead them back to the cave and show them the broken egg fragments. But when they returned to the forest, Rin couldn't remember where the cave was. Her parents became frustrated and thought she was making the whole story up. Not long afterward, the search took a tragic turn. The authorities discovered the body of one of the missing children, Wook, a friend of Min. He was found buried in a field. Strangely, there were no signs of injury on his body. The medical report concluded that he had died from a pre-existing illness. Rin soon returned to her lonely routine. She was heartbroken by Min's disappearance, especially since he had been her only close friend. One day, something strange happened. The clothes belonging to Tay and Wook were found neatly folded in front of their homes. The detective promised to review every available CCTV recording in an attempt to find out who was responsible. Later, while checking a storage shed after hearing a noise, Rin spotted someone running into the forest. Thinking it might be Min, she immediately chased after them. During the chase, she injured her leg. As she struggled to continue, a man called out to her from a distance. To her shock, the man claimed to be Min. However, he no longer looked like the boy she remembered. He had somehow become an adult. Unable to recognize him, Rin became frightened and tried to run away. Min attempted to give her a book, but she bit his hand and fled. Min tried to follow her, but stopped when Rin's father appeared nearby. Panicked, Rin told her father that a suspicious man had been following her. Based on Rin's report, the police began treating the children's disappearance as a kidnapping case. Soon afterward, officers recovered the book that the mysterious man had left behind. When Rin saw it, she recognized it immediately and began reading it. Inside, she found a detailed explanation written by Min about what had happened after she left the cave. According to Min, After Rin went back to retrieve her mother's hairpin, he and the others decided to break open the glowing egg to test the legend. When they did, no monster appeared. Instead, a powerful shockwave burst out from the egg. Later, Min entered the cave to look for Rin, but when he got inside, he noticed something impossible. Everything had stopped moving. Rin was frozen in place, and nothing around her seemed alive. When Min returned to the surface, he and his friends realized that time itself had stopped in the outside world. At first, they thought it was exciting. With time frozen, they could go anywhere and do almost anything without consequences. But as time passed, they began to realize that living in a world where time had stopped came with problems they had never expected. As time passed, Min, Tae, and Wook lived together in a world where time had stopped. They stayed inside a shopping mall where they had easy access to food and supplies, so survival wasn't a major problem. However, Wook suffered from asthma, and eventually his condition became serious. Because time was frozen, his inhaler no longer worked properly and couldn't deliver the medicine he needed. One day, Min and Tae found Wook lifeless. Heartbroken, they buried their friend in a field and continued on without him. After reading this part of the book, Rin finally realized that the mysterious man she had met in the forest really was Min. Wanting to protect him from the police, Rin rushed to her father and admitted that her kidnapping story had been a lie. Unfortunately, this only made people see her as even stranger than before and damaged her credibility even further. Rin continued reading Min's story. Years passed for Min and Tae, while the rest of the world remained frozen. To keep themselves busy, they learned how to live independently. They collected money, explored abandoned places, and carefully counted the days that passed. According to their calculations, they had grown into adults and were nearly 20 years old. Tae remembered his grandfather's story, which claimed that once they became adults, they would eventually be able to return to normal life. Believing this, the two boys prepared themselves and went back to the abandoned house in the forest where Min and Rin used to spend time together. But nothing happened. Time still refused to move. As the years dragged on, they became increasingly frustrated and depressed. They couldn't understand what they were supposed to do to return home. The endless isolation slowly began to destroy their mental health. Eventually, Tae disappeared. Min later found him at the bottom of a cliff. Unable to endure the loneliness and hopelessness any longer, Tae had taken his own life. Devastated and completely alone, Min decided to do the same. He jumped into the water, hoping to end everything. But instead, something unexpected happened. The moment he fell, time suddenly began moving again. While Tae's body sank into the depths below, Min lost consciousness and later woke up on a beach. After spending so many years in complete silence, Min had become extremely sensitive to sound and struggled to adjust to the noisy world around him. After finishing the story, Rin immediately returned to the forest to find him. There she found Min sitting alone, frightened and unsure of what to do next. Rin ran to him in tears. Min also broke down emotionally. After all those years of waiting, he had finally reunited with the person he loved most. From that day on, Rin visited Min whenever she could. They tried to help him return to a normal life. Min attempted to convince his adoptive mother that he was really the same Min who had disappeared years ago, just much older. Rin also tried to persuade their friends that Min was alive, but nobody believed them. To everyone else, the idea sounded impossible. Things became even worse when Rin's father received complaints that she was spreading strange stories about Min's return. Frustrated and worried about her behavior, he locked her in her room. Feeling completely helpless, Rin sat alone and cried. She was devastated that nobody trusted her. Not long afterward, Min came to see her. Rin told him how disappointed she was that no one would believe the truth, no matter how hard she tried to explain it. While searching for another way to prove the truth, Rin remembered something important. When she had returned to the cave before, she saw the mysterious light reflecting from the water again. This made her believe that the egg was still there. Rin came up with a plan. She wanted to retrieve the egg and break it in front of everyone so they could witness its power and finally believe her story. However, Min strongly opposed the idea. Having spent years trapped in a world where time had stopped, he knew better than anyone how painful and lonely that experience was. He didn't want anyone else to suffer the same fate. Instead, Min suggested that they leave the island together and start a new life somewhere else. Meanwhile, Rin's father accidentally discovered a photo of Min while looking through Rin's phone. When he returned home and realized Rin was missing, he immediately assumed she had been kidnapped. He tracked Min down and confronted him. The two argued, and the situation quickly turned into a fight. No matter how hard Min tried to explain, Rin's father refused to listen. Eventually, Min was forced to knock him unconscious and escape. The next day, after hearing Rin's father's story, the police searched the abandoned house in the forest. At the same time, Rin and Min arrived at the harbor, hoping to buy tickets and leave the island. Unfortunately, they were unable to purchase tickets because they didn't have proper identification. Soon, news reports about Rin's disappearance spread across television. The media described the case as a kidnapping carried out by an unknown man. Before they could leave, the police discovered their location and began chasing them. After a long attempt to escape, Rin realized they couldn't keep running forever. Reluctantly, she surrendered and allowed Min to get away. At the police station, the detective tried to convince Rin that Min was a dangerous criminal who had manipulated her, but Rin refused to believe him because she knew the truth. The moment she got an opportunity, Rin escaped and rushed back to the cave. Her plan was desperate. She wanted to use the egg's power to stop time again so she could grow older and prove to everyone that Min really was who he claimed to be. Min soon arrived and took the egg from her. He couldn't bear the thought of Rin sacrificing her future and suffering the same lonely fate he had endured. Moments later, the police finally caught up with them. As Rin tried to explain everything, one of the officers suddenly rushed toward Min. In the confusion, Rin lost her footing and began to fall. The detective managed to grab her hand, while Min also reached out to save her, but neither of them could hold on. Both Rin and the detective fell. At that moment, time stopped once again. Using the egg's power, Min managed to rescue both of them. He carried them to safety on a nearby beach before quietly disappearing. Afterward, the media portrayed Rin as a brave girl who had escaped from a kidnapping suspect. Although some of the detectives had started to believe parts of her story, they knew the public never would. To protect Rin from criticism and unwanted attention, they asked her to tell reporters that she had been manipulated by the kidnapper. By doing so, she could move on with her life without becoming the target of public judgment. As the years passed, Rin graduated from school and enrolled in a boarding school to continue her studies. Her relationship with her father also slowly healed and became much stronger. In the final scene of the movie, Rin is traveling on a ship when she notices an elderly man nearby. To her surprise, it is Min. After all those years, they meet again one last time. The film ends on this emotional reunion, leaving viewers to reflect on the passage of time, love, sacrifice, and the people we never truly forget. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications to catch more content like this. Thank you for watching.